What if Anakin Skywalker killed Darth Sidious after Order 66? Folks, this is one I really enjoyed writing. Link in the description now for my second channel, which is lore, news, theories, all stuff that isn't fanfictions. So yeah, check that out. Anyways, let's get right into this one. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, if you guys like this one, maybe we'll even do a part 2. We'll see. Alright, here we go. Anakin was kneeling in the Jedi Temple as his new master walked up to him. Sidious marveled at the death and destruction surrounding him. Anakin had perfectly executed Order 66 in the temple, and he felt Anakin in the Force, surrounded by the dark side. He had to be. Sidious knew if his young apprentice let any of the light in, he would break down. And this is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker in this very moment. You've just betrayed everything you've ever known. And for what? Killed younglings because of a Jedi Council plot to overthrow the Chancellor? No, the Jedi had to die. You tell yourself that in order to save Padme, you must give in to the dark side, completely. But conflict runs through you. You can still hear the screams, the blaster fire. It echoes off the now silent walls. And in front of you stands your new master, Darth Sidious, the man who promised he could save Padme. But you now recall his words in the office after you cut down Windu, that this power to cheat death has not even been achieved by him, and now he wants you to listen to his every word. You barely can hear your master speaking. All you care about now is achieving this power to cheat death. There is no going back, and perhaps to do that, you must become the Sith Master. There's no time for you to be an apprentice. Padme is going to die. You look up to Sidious. His hideous face curls into a smile as he says that you have done well. He tells you that he will now go to the Senate and form his new empire. Your very existence burns with the need for more power, more darkness, more fury, and in one moment of what you believe to be clarity, you grab your lightsaber, igniting it through his chest and out the back of your master. This is for the war. For the attempts on Padme's life. This is what Palpatine deserves. The look in his eyes is one of shock, surprise, anger, and even a bit of amusement. And he's dead, just like that. And now, you look out past the Jedi Temple stairs, into the Coruscant night. You've brought balance. You're fulfilling your destiny. You are Darth Vader. That is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker. Padme Amidala was alone, crying in her apartment, when C-3PO informed her of a visitor. It was Anakin, and Padme ran to him. Something was different, yet very similar. He was exuding both extreme confidence and seemed one moment away from collapsing. Padme asked what was going on, why the temple was on fire. All of this had happened so fast, and the two of them sat down now, as Anakin explained everything. Anakin said he was meeting alone with the Chancellor when he exposed a great secret of the Jedi Council and the Chancellor's office. Anakin said that Palpatine revealed to him that the Council was working with the Chancellor, that they were working together to prolong this war with the goal of the Jedi Order completely taking over the Senate. Padme, of course, could not believe this. Why would Palpatine be in a deep conspiracy with the Jedi? This made no sense. But Anakin said he thought the same thing, and he wouldn't have believed it if he didn't see it with his own eyes. Anakin pulled out Palpatine's lightsaber, telling Padme now that the Chancellor attacked him when he refused to be part of this conspiracy. Anakin told Padme that this whole time, Palpatine was a Jedi. This, of course, was a lie, but after killing Palpatine, Anakin needed to come up with something, and Anakin knew that most of the people in the galaxy had no clue what a Sith was. Anyone wielding a lightsaber is a Jedi, and so Anakin would use Palpatine's lightsaber to convince everyone that the Chancellor and the Jedi planned to take over. And he wasn't completely telling a lie. From Anakin's point of view, the Chancellor and the Jedi both did want to take over, just not together. And so Anakin told Padme that he acted in a way that he thought best served the Republic, in a way that would end the war. Anakin said he told the 501st Legion and the rest of the clones across the galaxy of this plot, and the clones did what had to be done, eliminate this threat, end the war. Padme couldn't believe it. She asked what about the Separatists, and Anakin informed her that Dooku was dead, Grievous was dead, and he dispatched 2 Republic cruisers of clones to Mustafar to deal with these Separatist leaders. The clones were taking care of the Separatist leaders, deactivating the droid army. It was over. Anakin told Padme that they won the war. Padme was afraid. She couldn't believe it. Most of the Jedi she knew were not only great people, but also great friends. How could they betray the Republic like this? How could they orchestrate a war like this? Master Yoda, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, were they all in on this? And Anakin spoke to her again, saying they must go to the Senate, inform the Senate of these events, inform them the war is over, inform them the Chancellor and the Jedi are gone. And Anakin had a bit of a crazed look in his eye as he told Padme that she can take over the Senate. Padme was fighting with her doubts and her love for Anakin, trying to find out which would come out on top. It was clear that he was going through a lot. The order he grew up in and his greatest mentor, the Chancellor, both betrayed everything that Anakin knew. And Anakin had acted. He'd ended the war. And so together, he and Padme traveled together to the Senate building, where Padme called an emergency meeting. Yoda, Obi-Wan, and Bail Organa entered the Coruscant atmosphere. Bail was informed that a mandatory Senate meeting was taking place, and his presence was required. Bail said he would be there, and this gave Obi-Wan and Yoda the perfect distraction to go to the temple and turn off the beacon, calling all Jedi back to Coruscant. And so they departed, Bail to the Senate, with Kenobi and Yoda going to the temple. Anakin prepared to enter the Senate building when a familiar presence hit him in the Force. His old master, Obi-Wan. He survived. Anakin debated with himself on his next move. If Obi-Wan were to go to the temple, he could find the security recordings that paint Anakin as an apprentice to Palpatine. Obi-Wan could go to the Senate and expose Anakin for his lies. In this moment, Anakin told Padme that she must tell the Senate everything. The war was over. They were victorious. Anakin said he could find evidence at the Jedi Temple, and he took off back to the temple. The dark side was strong in him. He'd killed Jedi, killed his master, the treachery of the Sith. And Anakin stood outside the Jedi Temple now, pouring his anger and his rage into his new lightsaber. He remembered what Sidious had said. To bleed a lightsaber, you must take a crystal from a Jedi you've killed. And Darth Vader poured his anger into the crystal of Anakin Skywalker, the Jedi he killed. The crystal bled, and Anakin cracked it. Sparks flew. Anakin looked to his new lightsaber, red, crackling, unstable. He was a Sith master. And inside the Jedi Temple, Obi-Wan and Yoda walked through the ruins. Death, destruction, pain. It was horrible. Younglings cut down by a lightsaber. Who could have done this? Obi-Wan noticed Yoda staying silent, as if he knew the answer. And deep down, Obi-Wan knew the answer as well. But he wouldn't admit it until he had proof. He couldn't. And soon enough, the two of them came upon a security room. Just outside of it lay the body of a hooded man. He was burned, scarred, deformed, but after a closer look, the two of them realized it was Palpatine. He was dead. A lightsaber stabbed directly through him. This was shocking. It didn't make much sense. But Yoda said that once someone is consumed by the dark side, they crave power. They get one taste of it, and they need more. It's like an addiction. And Yoda said it appears Palpatine's apprentice could not resist the power. Obi-Wan couldn't take it any longer, running over to the security holograms. He switched it on, and what he saw was nothing short of galaxy crushing inside of Obi-Wan's head. His student, his friend, his brother. He watched his student slaughter Jedi, and Obi-Wan skipped ahead to see Anakin kneeling in front of Sidious. And after a moment, he watched Anakin stab Sidious, killing him. Obi-Wan fell to his knees, saying, "Anakin, how could you?" knowing he was consumed by the darkness. And Obi-Wan heard a chilling voice come from the doorway. It was him, and in a voice that barely sounded like Anakin anymore, he said, "Anakin is gone." igniting his lightsaber to reveal the new, crackling red. The Jedi Temple lay in ruins, the once hallowed halls now echoing with the haunted silence of betrayal. Anakin Skywalker, now Darth Vader, strode through the charred remains of the sacred place, his red lightsaber casting an ominous glow on the walls. Jedi Masters Yoda and Kenobi knew now that Anakin must be stopped. He killed the Jedi, killed his own master. He was becoming beyond powerful in the dark. With tears in his eyes, Obi-Wan ignited his lightsaber, along with Yoda. The Jedi awaited him, their lightsabers ignited, ready for this inevitable confrontation. As Darth Vader approached, the tension in the air was palpable. The clash of the weight of their history, the bond of mentorship, all converging in this very moment, and Anakin, consumed by the darkness, spoke with a voice filled with evil. "You should not have come, old friends," he said. "Your time has passed." Yoda's response was measured and wise per usual. "A dark path you have chosen, Anakin. Stop you, we must." And with a swift flick of his wrist, Anakin lunged at his former mentors. The battle was fierce and relentless, a clash of light and shadows in the ruined temple. Yoda moved with astonishing agility, leaping, somersaulting through the air, evading Anakin's strikes with ease. His lightsaber moved in a blur, parrying every attack, launching counterattacks that forced the Sith to retreat. Obi-Wan maintained an excellent defense. He deflected Anakin's blows, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike back. The two former friends clashed, their lightsabers crackling with the energy of the Force. It was clear Anakin had changed. He was arrogant, he thought himself all-powerful, and as the duel raged on, Anakin's anger and frustration grew. He unleashed powerful bursts of the dark side of the Force, causing the temple's debris to tremble and fall. Yoda and Obi-Wan, however, understood that Anakin didn't know yet how to truly wield this new power. He only knew he had the power. Yoda and Obi-Wan were far more balanced and composed, even with these revelations. Obi-Wan finally ended up seeing an opening, a momentary lapse in Anakin's defenses. With a swift strike, he disarmed his former apprentice, sending Anakin's red lightsaber flying across the room. Yoda reached out with the Force to knock Anakin to the ground. Anakin was thrown into a pillar, now lay beside a group of Jedi he'd slaughtered earlier. He could not become like them, but the two Jedi Masters approached him. Anakin, vulnerable and defeated, looked into the eyes of his former mentors. There was a flicker of conflict in his eyes, a glimmer of the man he once was, buried beneath layers of darkness. And for a moment, it seemed as if Anakin might ask for mercy, for help. But the darkness that consumed him was far too strong. With a final, anguished cry, Anakin lifted his hands, grabbing any bit of the temple that he could, throwing it down at the Jedi. Yoda grabbed hold of the debris, and Anakin took off to the door. He was trying to get back to the Senate, to Padme, to blame these Jedi for everything. Obi-Wan ran after him, as Yoda placed the debris safely to the ground. Anakin leapt into a speeder and took off back towards the Senate building. But Obi-Wan did what he had to do, throwing his lightsaber at the speeder, guiding it with the Force. The lightsaber spun in the air and cut through the engines. Obi-Wan guided it and watched it sear through Anakin's side. Obi-Wan heard his old student scream in pain, and the speeder erupted into flames. Anakin burned inside of it as the speeder spun out of control, spinning into the Coruscant underworld. The speeder eventually crashed into a wall, exploding. Obi-Wan couldn't see anything through the smoke and the flames, but Anakin was truly gone. In his arrogance, his blindness to the dark side, Anakin thought he could take on the Grand Master and a Council Master. The dark side had consumed him, and Anakin had been destroyed long before the explosion in the speeder, far into the underworld. Obi-Wan would never be the same. He just destroyed his student, but his duty remained to the Jedi Order. Obi-Wan went with Yoda as they retrieved the security footage. There was no one to stop them from restoring peace in the right way. And Padme Amidala sat in her Senate pod. She was unsure of what to do. Did she believe Anakin? She truly did not know. That look in his eyes, it frightened her, and as the meeting was about to begin, Jedi Masters Yoda and Obi-Wan came in behind her. They brought security footage from the temple, And soon, the meeting began, and Padme knew for certain now that Anakin was lying. She presented the footage to the Senate, and the security footage showed Chancellor Palpatine calling Anakin his new apprentice, followed by Anakin killing Palpatine. It was graphic, but necessary for the Senate to see. Obi-Wan followed the recordings by talking, giving the Senate context to what this was. Palpatine was no Jedi. In fact, he was quite the opposite. Similar to Count Dooku, Palpatine was a Sith Lord. He wanted control, and it turns out he orchestrated this war to turn the Republic into his empire. The Senate was in shock, but there was a clear void in power. Most of them just wanted stability. So when Bail Organa nominated Padme to be interim chancellor, no one opposed it. The Republic was soon reorganized to better suit a peaceful galaxy, with Padme Amidala at the center of it. She was heartbroken over the loss and betrayal of Anakin, but she kept herself busy with running the Republic with Bail Organa at her side. She went on to safely birth her children, Luke and Leia. Grand Master Yoda went into a temporary exile to learn more about the Force, understand what went wrong. Obi-Wan eventually would find Ahsoka, and they would hang around with Padme to support her and help with the children. The Jedi Order was broken, but not dead, more so taking a necessary break, and the clones all went through mandatory chip removal once Rex and Ahsoka revealed the chips to Padme. They guarded the Republic from any threat that may emerge. They won, but all of them missed Anakin Skywalker. But he did not miss them. And folks, that's where our story ends today. If this does well, if it gets views, likes, comments, we'll maybe do a second part. I've got some plans in mind. Anyways, I like the first part. Let me know what you thought of the first part, or really just the whole thing. Again, no assuredness if I do a second part. But yeah, thanks a ton for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. I had a lot of fun writing this one, so I hope you liked it. Anyways, appreciate you guys. Again, go check out my second channel, link in description. Fun videos over there, so go check that out. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.